From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big night of evenings Lalate as Wall Street anticipates the push for forced stimulus next week. Also, with big corporate earnings coming next week, that will signal the importance to get forced stimulus done sooner rather than later. In this big recording, we go over third stimulus checks that will be landing in direct deposit accounts this weekend and next week as well. Four stimulus checks, so monthly stimulus checks that will be landing in bank accounts starting the month of July if the senators and House members get what they want. And then this fall, the incredible SSI reform that will start around October and November, with the bill starting in September that could reform the entire system across the board. Meantime, big updates about those business grants that were supposed to go live Saturday and did not. I'll explain what's going on. And the big updates about student loan debt forgiveness, those standalone bills, the $6,000 from Ron Wyden, the wealth tax bill from Elizabeth Warren that could pay for your $2,400 of SSI and SSDI, and the big corporate earnings coming next week that could signal whether this economy's rebounding at the rate we initially thought or at a faster rate. Among the big companies reporting next week are Tesla. And meantime, as Bitcoin continues to crash over the weekend, does that signal a flight out of crypto and a flight back into tech? I'll have all those details and more as we try to assess where this economy is going, when those stimulus checks are landing, and how we are getting to the finish line. This is Evenings LA. Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Evenings LA with a big night across the board, as next week is a huge week with Tesla, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Starbucks among the companies reporting corporate earnings next week that could signal what's going on with your forced stimulus. Remember, you want forced stimulus checks, those monthly stimulus checks that would become law in July, because corporate earnings continue to come in robustly. But is the economy rebounding faster than initially thought? I'll have all those details in this recording, and I'll have the latest on your fifth stimulus, that SSI reform, and those standalone bills happening by the minute. Thank you for joining me on a big night. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Let's get to the breaking details to start this evening. First, we learned at the end of last week that there was a wave 6 of third stimulus checks of $1,400 going out. So if you've not gotten your third stimulus check, this may be you. So watch for that direct deposit and those mail checks as well. All right, let's cut to forced stimulus. Forced stimulus checks got the real great push this last week that it needed to get to the finish line. That real big push is showing that the economy is rebounding not at a rate faster than the month of March, now in April, and showing that unemployment numbers and job numbers are not being restored at a faster rate than initially thought. It also got the push when Republicans came in with a counterproposal that would not reach bipartisan support. So let's go through all those big details and why forced stimulus is happening. First, let's go over how much forced stimulus is, who would get it, when you would get it, how you would get it, and the manner in which you would get it. It's all great news, and let's go through it one item at a time. Forced stimulus checks refers to the forced stimulus package, which has a lot of different names like the Infrastructure Bill, the American Jobs Plan, or the Recovery Act. The big issue with forced stimulus is how soon to get it done. It's a monthly stimulus check payout, and you want it done while the economy is rebounding, but not before it's fully rebounded. How do the payouts differ? They're both monthly, but the House members give you more months. House members want you to give you a month of stimulus check starting in the month of July and continuing to the end of the pandemic plus 1 year. So that's about 18 months of checks. The senators want to give you stimulus checks from July to December. Who are the movers and shakers? The House members are progressives. They're younger members of Congress. The senators are elder members of Congress. They are the core of the Democratic Party, and they are people who really want this process to go by recon because they have a lot of standalone bills of their own, whether it's minimum wage or whether it's a tax bill, to slide it into for stimulus. And what is the monthly amount? It depends on which party you're talking to, which house you're talking to. The House wants to give you $1,000 per month after the first month. The Senate, the amount is unknown, but word on the street looks like this. Word on the street is it would be something like this: $2,000 a month for 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 a month for 6 months, $8,400. What's important to understand is a series of factors. First, who gets this? You. How do you, everyone? Yes. So let me go over this. What is the eligibility for the fourth stimulus check? The same as the third. $75,000 or less, you. $150,000 or less, married couple, you. Just double the number of checks to 2. Household up to 4. So that amount you just saw on the screen was for 1. You would times it by 4. And if you're on SSI or SSDI, this is you. Now, among the other questions people ask, when? The vote would be in July, around July 4th, says Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi. When would the first check go out? It would be a July check, and then an August check, and then a September check. When would we get the July check? In July. And how would we get the July check? I believe, but it's just my conjecture, that it will come by the method that Warren and Harris proposed in 2020, a debit card that comes to you and then gets replenished every month thereafter. It's cheap, it's easy, and it's the simplest way to get the money to millions of Americans. Now, among the topics that you may have asked also is, does this look like a lot of money? Does this look like a lot of money for people to be getting for stimulus? No, and I'm going to tell you why. Because in the fall, the president's looking to spend $24,000 per child who's 17 or newborn. Yes. So while we're wondering, would we actually get $8,000 as adults for multiple stimulus checks? Don't worry, because the president wants to pay $24,000 to 17-year-old to newborns in the fall. It's part of what's called the fifth stimulus package, which I'll get into in a second. So understand, when we're talking about your payout of these multiple stimulus checks, it pales in comparison to what the president wants to pay for everyone else. It is a smaller amount, and it's a significantly smaller amount across the board. And with that, let's cut back to why this week gave us so much incredible great news. When determining whether fourth stimulus is going to happen, 2 factors are at issue. 1, timing, and 2, timing. No. 1, timing, and 2, bipartisan support. The timing is based upon how quickly they get it done. Well, I just told you July. But what could happen in July? The fear, the worry, was that the economy may be fully rebounded by July. And why did we have that fear? Because 2 weeks ago, we saw that the number of unemployment claims dropped by 250,000 in 1 week. And we were worried we were going to drop again by another 250,000 this week. Well, the great news, for purposes of stimulus check, but not for purposes of people unemployed, is that we did not drop another 250,000 this week. We stayed the same, meaning that the recovery rate in this month of April so far is mirroring that of March. And that signals will be recovered in December, not in July. That's the first thing. Second, we also saw the continuing number of long-term unemployment claims stayed relatively flat at about 16 million, which signals that if we're relatively flat, we're not increasing at an exponential growth. No worry that by the time the bill gets to the Senate, that growth rate will not be any stronger than it is currently. And with that, that signals why we are on a good path. Now, we also got another push this week as well, and that incredible push came from the Republicans. The Republicans refused to come in with bipartisan support and came in with a partisan option, and that partisan option was rejected by the president, signaling he has to go by reconciliation. Remember, reconciliation is the only process to get stimulus checks out the door, not bipartisanship. And reconciliation starts a 2-month process, and that 2-month process needs to start by the early part of May. What did the Republicans say this week? They finally put pen to paper, and they came in less than what they had said before. 4 weeks ago, they said, of the $2 trillion the president wants, we're not going to do $2 trillion. We will take away all climate. The president says, I have to have climate. They say, we're not giving you climate. And of the infrastructure, we'll give you $600 to $800 billion. That's what they said at the start of the week. The president said, I'm not going to do that. Meet with me. He met with them, and then they came in lower on their offer, which signals that ultimately he has to go by reconciliation. In fact, they came in so much lower, it was in the $500 million range, resulting in no bipartisan support. Away we go to reconciliation. Now, what does the coming week show us, and what does that shed light on for purposes of forced stimulus? There's a series of corporate earnings coming this week, and those corporate earnings could signal whether we are rebounding at a faster rate before we see those new jobs numbers at the end of this month and the new unemployment numbers that's coming Thursday. Remember, we're always seeing if rates of recovery are accelerating faster than the week before. Currently, we have some really great data for purposes showing that the recovery is flat. Those ship deliveries and those ports are delayed in getting manufacturing and goods to consumers, which slows down recovery, which means we're not rebounding as fast as thought. But what's coming in this coming week? On Monday, Tesla reports earnings. I'll be going over that in a second in this recording. On Tuesday, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Starbucks report corporate earnings. Then on Wednesday, it's Boeing, Apple, Ford, and Facebook. And then finally, on Thursday, it's Amazon. Then we go to Friday with Exxon, Chevron, Clorox, and Colgate. I'll be going over those corporate earnings later in this recording because it's important to understand if the anticipation of corporate earnings is a blowout. If there's a blowout, oh boy, then we could see robust recovery at a rate faster than initially believed. More coming up on that later in this recording. What's happening in September? In September is what's called the America Family Plan, the AFP, which differs from the American Job Plan, which is what we're doing now for fourth stimulus. This fall is fifth stimulus, the American Family Plan, and its value, $1 trillion. The president will have to do it by reconciliation because the Republicans are not going to give him $6 trillion over 9 months of his presidency. And the president's calling, again, for that $24,000 for children and potentially for more taxes. But the incredible great news came this week as we learned that SSI reform is coming in fifth stimulus. I first broke the news on this channel. You're the first place and only place you saw the coverage of this SSI reform. And I've been staying on focus and on point for SSI reform since day one of this channel. Tomorrow, this channel turns 1 year old. Wow, what a run it has been. And its first month of infancy, last year, I did a video when this channel just had a few hundred subscribers. And the video was about SSI, SSDI, Social Security and rural benefits. No one was reporting about you. No one. And I said it was an important subject to cover. I did a video, and the video went viral, 3 million views. No one has ever had a video go viral in the financial space of that magnitude, of that infancy. It's very rare ever to have a video go viral. And why? Because it talked about you and your concerns. And since then, we saw what the president said during the campaign and during the transition papers, and not saying in January, February, March. Well, we got that changed this week. We got an incredible push from Democratic leaders to push for SSI reform in a massive, massive letter released this week that says you need SSI and SSDI reform, and we are senators and House members, and we want it in there, and we're going to detail to you how we want it done. Let me go over broadly what it is, and then I'm going to go over each of the items one at a time. First, it'll involve benefits levels increasing, asset limits going higher, inflationary benchmark being removed, being added, income exclusion being removed, and marriage penalty being removed. It's incredible great news because this is exactly where you need to be going and where you need to be heading. All right, let's go to the details. It's very easy to follow. First, all your benefits, whether you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, or veterans benefits, would be lifted, all lifted up to a new number. That's your new number going forward. That would be your new number. You would never go lower, and that would be your number and for then to history and beyond. What would happen in December? Well, every December, your benefits are reassessed, and your benefits are reassessed based upon a benchmark. Well, they're going to get rid of the current benchmark, which is COLA, that doesn't move, so your benefits never increase, and tie you to inflation. Inflation is 1% to 4% every year, so you know your benefits are going to increase about 2% to 3% over the next few years, because that's where inflation is going to be over the next few years, says Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve. Very easy breezy. Then it's going to remove the asset cap. You can't keep a certain amount of money of cash on hand to stay on benefits in some cases. So they're going to remove that asset cap. Currently about $3,000. It dates back to 1984. It's a very outdated provision. And then the one that I'm very excited for and you're very excited for is if you do wish to work, or if you are working, you know there's an income cap. You can't take home a certain amount of money and stay on benefits. They're going to get rid of that income cap, and that income cap is dating back to the 1960s, 1967. Get rid of it and now give you a new income cap. Very high, $1,000, $2,000 a month. That would allow you to make money and still stay on benefits. And then they'll tie that income cap to inflation going forward. It's all incredible, great news, to which thou can also add a removal of the marriage penalty. How, when, where, how does this formulate? This will be fifth stimulus. This will be in September. It would start in September. Go by recon, take 2 months to do, and then certainly see its impact on your check somewhere around the last 2 months of this year. And then going forward, it would be reassessed in December for a great new year coming forward. Just incredible, great news. Coming up later in this recording, I have big updates about student loan debt forgiveness, mortgage forbearance. Also, what's going on with that business grant that did not go live today. Got a lot of news about going live and didn't go live. And then I'm going to go over the big breaking developing news today, which is those corporate earnings coming next week. I'll be going over what those corporate earnings will say and what you should anticipate and how it impacts your bottom line. Stay with me. I'll be back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Late Daily for the excitement of the new LA Late live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA Late at 9 a.m. Home LA Late returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues after this with LA Late Night, our Reverend show with Sir Loin and Javita Late. They are back with your current events and their take on what's going on. That humor-only broadcast returns tonight, and then tomorrow morning is early mornings LA Late. Thank you for joining me on a big night of LA evenings. How are you? Hope you're having a beautiful evening. Big developing details coming up still in the second half of this recording. Stay with me. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and also in the pinned comment. And say hi. I might be in the live chat with you. In this recording, still coming up is student loan debt forgiveness, the Ron Wyden plan, $6,000, mortgage forbearance, the wealth tax that could pay the SSI and SSDI, and those corporate earnings. Let's get to some of those corporate earnings right off the bat. And to start, let's go to what's happening on Monday. On Monday, these corporate earnings will signal whether this economy is rebounded at a rate faster than initially anticipated. Tesla reports corporate earnings on Monday. Jim Cramer says on Friday, these numbers impact more than just Tesla. There's dozens of electric vehicles. I like Tesla at all these levels. I'm betting the quarter will be a good one. Then on Tuesday comes Alphabet, Microsoft, and Starbucks. As Alphabet, Cramer says we have to focus on Google Cloud. For Microsoft, he says Microsoft's stock has had so much of a run, it needs to report a monster quarter with huge Azure numbers. The funny thing is they'll probably do it. I'll still stay with it. And then Starbucks. He says Starbucks has a monster run over the past year. And in anticipation of the great reopening, we'll see. I'm looking for a pullback, though. Ooh, oh boy. More about those corporate earnings later for the week coming up also in this recording. Later in this recording, I'll have the rest of the week later in the next few minutes. But first, wow, very surprising news. That Shuttered Venue Business Grant that was supposed to go live on Saturday, they pulled it back. I have never in the history of SBA ever seen them announce a grant going live on a day and a minute, and then, talking so much about it, and then suddenly yanking it again. I certainly sense they think there's going to be a big crash of their computer systems when it goes live. So be prepared to understand if you qualify for the Shuttered Venue Grant. It's not just for venues. Go to sba.gov. The remainder of the $10,000 grant, they're sending out those invites. If you applied in February, you may be stuck in a vortex. They know about it. And then the $5,000 EIDL grant has not gone live. There is no business grant to start a new business. There is an EIDL loan still open, so consider that. And then the PPP grant has now gone live again, extended by executive order. The week also involved the excitement and anticipation that perhaps Ron Wyden's $6,000 stimulus may get into the fourth stimulus package. He can slide it in during the reconciliation process and may likely do so. What's important to understand is that when they do the reconciliation for the fourth stimulus in July, there is a time frame at issue, and you know exactly what that time frame issue is: July. Here's something I've never explained really before until today. In July, when they're doing the reconciliation for those multiple stimulus checks, that will be the last time you'll see Congress until they return in September. And when they return in September, what will have happened by September? FPUC will expire, PEUC, mortgage forbearance, student loan debt forgiveness. A lot of things will have expired by the time they return. So I certainly expect they're going to slide a lot of other things into fourth stimulus, potentially like Ron Wyden $6,000. That's $250 a week for 6 months, as often as you so need it if you're a PUA person over your lifetime. It's a new lifetime program that provides $250 per week for up to 6 months, $6,000 per year for PUA people. What else could slide into the student loan, into the fourth stimulus? Well, Elizabeth Warren next week will be heating up that wealth tax bill. That wealth tax bill is the money that she proposed while on her campaign trail that would pay for SSI and SSDI $2,400. Could she slide SSI, SSDI $200 a month into fourth stimulus? Absolutely. Could she slide wealth tax into fourth stimulus? That might be a harder pull because wealth tax is a more polarizing subject. It is not the president's type of taxing. It is not Bernie Sanders' type of taxing. It's taxing for billionaires and trillionaires. But next week it's going to get incredible push. And that credible push comes from her when she has congressional hearings about that wealth tax. Remember, the wealth tax and the $2,400 is different than that SSI reform, which comes in September. You're likely to get the SSI reform. I think that's going to happen. But the wealth tax, that's a little bit more complicated across the board. But what's not so complicated is what's also happening next week. Let's go back to those big corporate earnings that are coming next week that could signal whether this economy is rebounding faster than anticipated. On Wednesday, we're hearing Boeing, Apple, Ford, and Facebook. For Boeing, Kramer says, if you're like me and you could be heading for an unprecedented economic boom, including travel, that's Boeing. He says maybe you need to be owning Boeing. Boeing. Own Boeing. Not own. Apple, he says the stock has been laggard. It's caught fire as we heard chatter about better cell phones. Interesting. And then Ford, he says he thinks it's going to be a good quarter, but he's worried about the chip sales. And then Facebook, which has a spelling error with the S at the end. He says it's not too late. You want to be a buyer of Facebook. I think it's going to be at all-time highs. Judging from what we heard from Snap last year, you have to believe that Facebook is going to knock it out of the park this week. Wow. Coming up later in this recording, I'm going to go over the Thursday and Friday numbers and what that signals for your stimulus as well. How about what else is happening? Well, the student loan debt forgiveness has been forgotten, at least just for now. The student loan debt forgiveness memo from I said rebel. Yes, it started becoming rebellious. From Miguel Cardona was due a week ago yesterday, has not been produced. And now broadcast media has been noticing this channel because they're covering my story, which is, where's the letter? Where's the letter? The letter was to give the president legal insight as to whether he can forgive your student loan debt by executive order. Obama did it, Trump did it. Well, why isn't the president doing it? And why has the letter not been produced? Not clear. A new survey this week asked 500 congressional leaders what they think about the proposal. Only 36 responded, but of those 36, half of them said they like it. Over half. And the remaining that did not say they don't support it said that they support it, but at potentially a different number. Great news across the board. So the president really has to do this because he sees an growing loom to get this done. Meantime, what really happened this week that caused turmoil across the board? Let me explain what happened so you have clarity. The president quietly has made no clear determination about which taxes he wants to raise for fourth stimulus, for fifth stimulus, or for sixth stimulus next year. But on Thursday, Bloomberg heard insight from the president as to what he wants to raise for taxes next year for sixth stimulus. Capital gains taxes. Capital gains taxes refers to taxes you pay when you buy something, you sell it for a profit. You buy a share at the swap meet and sell it on eBay. You pay on the profit. You buy a Tesla share and you resell for a profit. You pay on the profit. You buy a car and you sell it for a profit. You pay on the profit. He wants to change the capital gains tax. Now, it's not a small change. It's currently at 20%, and the report on Thursday said he wants to change it to 50%. What? Are we in a third world country? Yes, and that absolutely sent Wall Street in a terror. Here's what you need to know, is that Wall Street has, as of Saturday, still not recovered from that news. It doesn't like it, and I'm going to tell you why. On Friday, Goldman Sachs came out with a report, said it's never going to happen. He can't get the support for it. Maybe he'll get 2 or 3% more, but not 25% more. But here's what you need to know. The mere suggestion of a president wanting to tax really people black and blue in the face with capital gains did not sit well with Wall Street, did not sit well with middle America, did not sit well with the middle class, and did not sit well with anyone. That anyone would even consider that notion shows a different type of mindset that anyone had anticipated. Everyone can understand the corporate tax rate. It's 20%. Maybe raise it to 22 or 23. Yeah, it's a little bit of modification to pay for some roads and bridges. But to suddenly say that grandma who bought a share at the flea market and wants to sell it on eBay, you're going to take 50% of her money away? It showed an entire different mindset. And as with that mindset, Wall Street has not fully recovered. On Friday, Wall Street was flat. On Thursday, it crashed. All weekend long, crypto has absolutely been imploding. It shows insecurity about this economic environment. Let me explain why. Because if you think that the capital gains tax is going to go through the roof next year, or that the president's going to change the tax rates in a way that's not going to really help anyone next year, you're going to get out of it this tax year between now and December. It's causing a lot of guessing, a lot of insecurity, and a lot of worry among anyone from middle America, middle class, to people who just work. And they're concerned that potentially their money could be taken by massive taxes. And that concern could continue next week. Let's turn to what's also happening next week. Thursday, Amazon reports earnings. Jim Cramer says the stock has been treading water for months because people are worried about the year-over-year comparisons. I think the company has gained new adherents. I think the stock still works. So he says that the stock has been beaten up and it may still remain relatively flat. And then Friday, we have a lot of energy with Exxon, Clorox, well, not that type of energy, Chevron, and Colgate. Chevron, Kramer says, when I listen to the oil people, I get kind of positive vibes. Clorox, Kramer says, as of Clorox, that he thinks it could be good. Wall Street's believe, I can't say their stocks will behave well when the report. At best, the battlefield stocks, there's no reason to go near a battlefield, not in this market. So not particularly clear if you want to be in that as well. Guess what's coming up Today on LA, coming up next is LA Late Night. That's a Reverend show coming up in less than 2 hours from now. Javita Late and Sirloin give their take on the big events of the day. Join us every day with Mornings LA after Early Mornings LA. That's at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, followed by noontime and then afternoons LA. What does Sirloin think about meatless tacos? How about I tag you, or you air tag me, or Amazon hair? What does Sirloin think about Amazon hair? Or what about that delicious new Cadillac? I'll have all those details and more, and we'll teal into it. We will teal into it tonight. So join me in about 90 minutes from now as LA Late Night returns. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and the pinned comment. If you missed any video today because you were unable to watch it live, they are now all archived on the channel. So sit back and get a cup of coffee or $12 ice cream and enjoy all of today's videos. They're still now playing on the channel. Be part of this family. Tomorrow's our 1-year anniversary. I want you to subscribe and become part of this family. So tell your friends, your neighbors, your pet llama, your alpaca, your meatless taco to all come over and subscribe to this channel. You don't have to be wearing teal. We invite all of you. Just circle around one more time, and we have a range of other options available for you as well. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA.